You ever find yourself just staring at your portfolio on a quiet Sunday morning, coffee in hand, maybe the market's closed, maybe there's no major news, but still, you're thinking. You open your app, you look at the positions, you see that familiar ticker SCHD, it's sitting there, reliable as ever, humming along, maybe it's up a bit, maybe it's down, but it's calm, it's collected, it's paying that quarterly dividend without fail, and over the past few years, it's earned your trust. And yet, even in that moment of calm, something stirs. It's not fear, it's not FOMO, it's something quieter, almost like a whisper. Is this it? Is this the whole picture, the whole portfolio? Is this all I want to do for the next 10, 20, 30 years? You've got this solid foundation, this ETF built on companies that generate real cash flow, that return capital to shareholders, that reward patience. And for many, SCHD becomes the first ETF that actually feels right. Like a core holding you can hold through anything, but the more you learn, the more you grow as an investor, the more you realize something important. Even the strongest core isn't the whole house, and that's when it starts. You begin exploring, not out of dissatisfaction, but out of evolution. You start asking questions. What if I could add something that complements SCHD? What if I could smooth out the drawdowns, or stretch the upside? What if I'm missing exposure to areas of the market SCHD doesn't touch? What if I'm not diversified as much as I think I am? And now, you're no longer just holding an ETF, you're building a strategy. You're transitioning from someone who invests in ETFs to someone who designs portfolios. Big difference, because now you're not just saying I like SCHD, you're asking, what do I want this portfolio to do for me over the next 20 years? You might be looking for growth, for protection, for yield, for diversification, or just for peace of mind. But regardless of your goal, one thing becomes crystal clear. SCHD might be the heart of your portfolio, but it's not necessarily the whole body. And when that realization hits, you start looking outward. You start seeing these other giants of the ETF world. And they're not just names anymore, they're tools, they're options, they're potential partners to your dividend hero. You spot VTI, the total market ETF that owns, well, everything, and you wonder, could this fill in the gaps SCHD leaves behind? You see VOO, pure S&P 500 exposure, clean, efficient, focused. Maybe this is the pure growth and stability counterweight SCHD needs. Then there's JEPQ, the wild card, the one everyone talks about when they want yield, big yield, double SCHDs, covered calls, monthly income. You scroll further and QQQ pops up. A different beast entirely. Tech-heavy, mega-cap growth, innovation-focused. No dividends here, well, not much, but potential for serious long-term appreciation. Could this bring rocket fuel to your otherwise steady setup? And then you find DGRO. It flies under the radar, doesn't get the hype, but quietly tracks companies that consistently grow their dividends. Not just pay them, but increase them. A sibling to SCHD, but with its own rules and rhythm. Each of these ETFs starts to feel like a missing puzzle piece. Not because SCHD is weak, but because no ETF is everything. SCHD is quality but not quantity. It's stable but not exciting. It's income-focused but not futuristic. It's US only, but the world is much bigger. You begin to realize maybe it's not about replacing SCHD. It's about amplifying it, like building a team where everyone plays a different role. SCHD is your veteran, your dividend quarterback, the one that doesn't need to be flashy because it's fundamentally sound. But even quarterbacks need receivers, they need blockers, they need a defense. So now you're here, sitting with this idea, what happens if I start pairing SCHD with something else? But not just anything. Not just randomly throwing in QQQ because it sounds cool. Not just copying someone else's portfolio from Reddit or YouTube. You're doing it with intention, because you want to build something that fits you, your goals, your risk tolerance, your timeline, your vision of financial freedom. So, let's not rush this. Let's take our time, one pairing at a time, and really understand what each combination brings to the table. We're going to explore 5 powerful combinations that all start with SCHD, but finish in completely different places. Here's what's coming. SCHD plus VTI for when you want dividend quality and total market breadth. This is where simplicity meets total exposure, and where passive meets precision. SCHD plus VEO2 Titans. One focused on quality dividends, the other on large-cap American giants. Together, a minimalist's dream, SCHD plus JEPQ. If you crave yield, this pairing might make your income screen light up like a Christmas tree. But there's nuance here, because that yield doesn't come free. SCHD plus QQQ. The value investor meets the growth chaser. The past meets the future. This is where your portfolio starts having very different conversations. SCHD plus DGRO, the sibling combo. Same dividend family, different personalities. One focuses on quality, the other on dividend growth consistency. Together, possibly one of the most balanced income growth blends out there. Each of these combos has a story, a strategy, a reason to exist. And over the next few sections, we're going to walk through each one, not just with performance charts and data, don't worry, I'll sprinkle those in, but with real insight into what these ETFs actually mean for an investor like you. Because this isn't just about numbers, it's about building a portfolio that lets you sleep at night and wake up excited about the future. So let's start with the first pairing, SCHD plus VTI. Why are so many people starting to blend dividend-focused SCHD with a total market behemoth like VTI? Let's take a closer look. SCHD plus VTI quality meets completeness. So let's start with the combination that feels almost like a natural first step. SCHD plus VTI. If SCHD is the confident, cash flow-rich core of your portfolio, then VTI is the wide-open lens, the full view of the US stock market in one single ticker. We're talking over 3,500 companies here, from the Apples and Microsofts of the world, all the way down to tiny micro-cap stocks you've never heard of. This isn't just about large caps, it's about total market exposure, but let's pause right there. Why would anyone combine a focused, dividend-quality ETF like SCHD with something as broad as VTI? Isn't there overlap? Isn't that redundant? Here's the thing, yes, there is overlap. Some of the top holdings in SCHD like Pepsi, Texas Instruments, or Coca-Cola might also show up in VTI. That's okay. Because the purpose behind each ETF is completely different. SCHD filters for high-quality, dividend-paying companies with strong fundamentals. It's all about selectivity. You're only getting 100 companies, that's it. Tight, concentrated, intentional. VTI, on the other hand, doesn't care about dividends, or quality screens, or earnings power. It says if it's listed in the US market, we're buying it. It's the broad brushstroke to SCHD's precision pen. When you pair them together, you're telling your portfolio, I want the stability and income of SCHD, but I also want to own everything else SCHD doesn't give me. And believe me, there's a lot SCHD doesn't cover. It underweights growth stocks. It has zero exposure to small caps. It doesn't benefit as much when high-flying, non-dividend names like Tesla or Amazon go on a run. And it's not built to represent the market. It's built to beat it through quality and dividends. So when you add VTI to the mix, you're expanding your reach without abandoning your core. You keep SCHD's income machine and defensive tilt, but now you've added small cap growth, high momentum tech, younger companies with no dividends but huge upside, and full US market capture. Let's talk performance. Over the past decade, VTI has outpaced SCHD in total return during bull markets, especially when growth stocks were in favor. But SCHD has held its own, often with less volatility and more income. In a down market, SCHD tends to fall a bit less. In an up market driven by growth, VTI pulls ahead. So you see how this pairing works? It's like blending offense and defense. SCHD gives you steady yardage, dividend after dividend. VTI gives you explosiveness, the potential for big plays when the entire market rallies. Now here's where it gets really beautiful. You don't have to overthink the ratios. Some investors go 50-50. Others might go 60% VTI and 40% SCHD. Some keep SCHD as their anchor and sprinkle in just 20% VTI for diversification. The flexibility is the point. With this pairing, you're giving yourself full market exposure, but anchoring it in quality. You're saying, I don't just want to ride the market, I want to ride it with an income cushion and a quality tilt. And that, right there, is why this combo has quietly become one of the most respected two-fund setups among long-term investors. Each of these pairings is like a different recipe. Same base ingredient, SCHD, but wildly different flavors depending on what you add. So the real question isn't which is best. The real question is, what do you want your portfolio to feel like? Do you want calm simplicity and total market exposure? Go SCHD plus VTI. Do you want big dividends every single month? Try SCHD plus JEPQ. Are you chasing growth but want a dividend anchor? Think SCHD plus QQQ. Or do you want to just keep it all large cap and classic? VOO and SCHD will treat you well. There's no single right answer, but there's a right fit for you. So explore, reflect, build your mix with purpose. Because pairing SCHD with the right partner might just be the portfolio upgrade you've been looking for all along.